All right, we've got a good one today. So many times we come on this podcast and we have guys who are just all talking about how they've had this home service business for a ton of years and they burn the boats and it's all they do. I wanted to have Noah on because I think that through my experience through Home Service Accelerator and everything else, seeing people start home service or contracting businesses from scratch, I see a lot of poor financial decision making. And Noah has built Mammoth Lights, a permanent smart track lighting business, permanent Christmas lights. You guys know the mobile app powered stuff that we talk about in here all the time. He's built that business along a 9-to-5. So Noah, we're super pumped to have you. He's a member of Home Service Accelerator. Him and I have become friends just through that. And I wanted to just get you, let's start with you telling everybody, like, how did we get to here where good job on one side while building a substantial business that even if you didn't have the job at this point now, it's like a substantial home service business. How do we get here?
All right. So I'm going to start further back than you probably think is necessary. I've been, we'll call it trying side hustles or just been, entrepreneurial since I was 16 working at a Foot Locker. I was buying the Jordans or the Foamposites that were coming out and, using my discount and getting friends to stand in line to buy sneakers to then go sell them, make a quick buck. But, I lived that burn the boats lifestyle. When I was 23, started it sounds really illustrious, started a bread route business with my best friend. We bought a territory with Pepperidge Farms, and we were the two of us. And I'm grateful to still call him best friend today. But the two of us were waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning, going to the depot, stocking shelves, running the entire thing because we had seen somebody and knew someone well who was making can I curse on the show?
Sure.
A fucking killing slinging bread, right? So he and I both saved up about 15 grand that we had. We went into this business together. I ended up not being built for it. He's a grinder, my buddy Josh, but he ended up buying me out about 8 months into running this business. So I had cash come back in. I had made money while we were running it. And like every person who reads Bigger Pockets for 2 weeks, I decided real estate was the way, right? I was the cliche. Looking back now, man, I just laugh. But
it's so easy. It's gotta be so easy.
It's so easy. You just read a few listen to a few podcasts. You read a few forum posts. You buy Rich Dad Poor Dad. You have to do that first,
of course,
right? Yes, and then you become a millionaire. That's the way it works. Mm-hmm. The reality of it is that I got my real estate license. Struggled the first year. Meanwhile, I'm full time. This is what I'm doing full time. I could have worked back at Foot Locker and probably made about as much money or more money my first year in real estate. Flash forward, because I don't want to bore the audience too much, 6.5 years, and I've had some good years and I've had some bad years. And my wife, Laura, bless her soul, throughout this time was really patient. But we weren't married yet, but it gets to the point where, it's getting real, man. She signed up with the guy that had the vision for the future. But we're 6 years in, and that vision, it's looking further away than ever. And we had some hard conversations, and I realized that, number one, real estate wasn't serving me, and I really wasn't serving myself being a real estate agent, trying to, and doing it ethically, but trying to invest, sometimes wholesale. I was trying to do anything to make a buck. So around the time I was looking to get out, a good friend of mine just happened to text me, "Hey, you watching the fights this weekend?" There's a buddy of mine that I trained jiu-jitsu with, and started shooting the shit. He said, how's real estate been going? And I was like, I'm actually looking to get out. And we ended up finding a perfect fit between what his company was looking for and what I could do. So my 9-to-5 role right now, I wear a bunch of different hats, but essentially I'm responsible for all of the technical presentations my company puts forward on bids. I help them run their ops software, kind of like admin and oversight. And then I, help create integrations with other software in the company to help it perform better.
Okay.
I hate it. I am not built for the 9-to-5 life. So This is how we get to
Why?
Mammoth, I
No,
promise.
like for the audience, why?
Yeah,
Put it like define the terms. Why?
yeah, yeah. So I hate being told what to do, like more than anything else in my life. My wife, if she listens to this, is going to be like big time nodding to this. But the people who are actually in the contracting or home service business are going to laugh now because we just get told what to do by our clients, right? You trade one demon for another. But I had I have two amazing parents, and I watched them sacrifice their entire adult lives to 9 to 5 jobs that provided myself and my brother a fantastic upbringing. But I saw my dad, worked for 35, 40 years for DuPont, get passed over promotion after promotion because he just wasn't the kind of guy that was going to stand up for himself. He did amazing at his job, but just never, he wasn't going to do that. So I saw
Mm-hmm.
that. I saw my mom work 90-hour weeks for a business that she didn't buy into when it started, but was still one of the linchpins of its success.
Mm.
So she had all the effort, but none of the upside. And I couldn't tell you what age I started to notice this, but by 12, 13, I was already, early Google days, researching how to start your own business, etc. So I think that has played into a lot of how I view things. And this isn't to disparage 9 to 5s, W-2s, man. I know you know it. Like some of the most, fulfilled and sometimes successful people run that playbook and it works.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a certain portion of us that will just not, something will feel off, right? If you don't try it for yourself. And that's what it is at the end of the day for me. I could be making a great living, but it's not on my own. And because of that, it's just like a thorn in my side, and that thorn festers and it sits. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's funny because it's like in all of life, you almost want the opportunities that have a guarantee, right? And so it's
Yeah.
funny when you look at a 9 to 5, what people that aren't in the entrepreneur world say is like, that's risk, right? That's risk.
Correct.
Like,
Correct.
but define risk to me, right? And so
Yeah.
if you're working, if you're a 9 to 5er and I say, and I tell a 9 to 5er, like, I'm starting a home service business or I'm scaling this up, I'm going to quit my 9 to 5. They're like, oh my gosh, that's risky. And then, but if you actually ask somebody, like, define the term of what your life, your professional life will be successful as, like, define
Yeah.
that term. And then when the person says, well, no, like, I want to be rich, what does that mean? Like, what is that? Is there a number? Is there a lifestyle? Is it you and your wife want to take vacations and you want to fly first class on that vacation twice a year? What is it? Define it.
Yeah.
And then it becomes like, oh, well, actually, I really want to eventually be in the position at my company that I have freedom. And it's like, okay, what is freedom? Define freedom.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, I don't want somebody to tell me what to do. It's like, okay, well, I'll tell you where the risk lies. If those are your criteria, what happened to your parents is
The risk.
more risky because you might get passed over for the boss's son. You might get passed over for whatever else. And so then I think there's a specific temperament in us, like home service business owners, where you go like, the risk here is financial. The risk here is scary. The risk here is market dependent, maybe. But like at a certain point, and you knew when you were 19, when you're 20, in your 20s, 30s, whatever else, that you will eventually figure it out if your back's against the wall. And so then it's like, which one's risky?
Yeah.
Right.
And you hit on a great point too. You keep using the term you keep saying define the term. And it makes me think of something I've heard before is like most people live a completely unobserved life. They go through their entire lives without taking a step back and looking at these words, these thoughts that are operating our day to day. And the more time you spend doing that, typically you realize that your positions in life, if you haven't spent the time to observe them, start to unravel because we're all just operating on the things we've heard from other folks. But one thing I'm grateful for, the struggles I had in my 20s trying to make something work, was that I learned a ton about what I do and don't want in life. Now, these past 2 years and some change, I've been back in a 9 to 5 role. I've done that knowing it's what I had to do for a period of time to kind of reset myself, etc. But the one thing I never stopped doing, this is where we lead in to actually, starting these things up again is I never stopped learning. I never stopped trying to explore different ideas. And so the way we actually get led to Mammoth Lights is through local SEO. I'd used like different website builders in the past. When I was a real estate agent, I had my own, website and Google business page. And I remember seeing something probably on Twitter about, local SEO as a service. And I started thinking like, okay, I know knew at least how to rank pages. I know how to do the basics of website build, etc. What if I could go to people I already know who own home service businesses or local service businesses, and if they needed a website or if they needed to get their GBP page optimized, if I could go and do that for them. Now,
for anybody listening, GBP is Google Business Page.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Now, we on X see every day killers out there. I think you had Bodie on. I've been following him, forever. Guys like that are operating at a super high level. But the reality of it is, minimal tweaks can get major upside for folks in non-competitive markets. And for reference, I live outside of Philadelphia, kind of in the suburbs, the counties of Philly. And if you have half a brain and a bit of like stick-to-itness, you can get your page ranked in the map pack pretty easily.
Yeah.
So this is where it leads in. I had gone to a few friends, offered a service, and started working with one friend of mine. He's a kitchen and bath contractor, had just started his business 2 years prior, was seeing some success, but his website looked like it was out of the early 2000s, and his business page was, more or less non-existent. It was in the wrong address. It was, not marked up properly, no keywords, no description, all of that, wrong category. And so I started doing work for him. But I realized that there were certain things that I wanted to test that I was nervous to test on, because this is one of the first people I'm working with. If I go and get his account suspended, this is a major fuck up. So I did something that is, I guess, black hat, if we're talking, what's allowed and not allowed. But I got a page up for all intents and purposes, a different business with a different name, but got it verified, and it was for temp lights, so temporary holiday lights. Built a website in my off time over a weekend, got it minimally optimized, and within this, I started it October 23rd. I remember the day the Google Business Page went live, or October 22nd, something like that. By November 6th, I got my first call. And I was in the map pack this is for, professional Christmas light installation. Again, all temp keywords. So I'm getting these calls, and the first few, man, they catch me off guard. I wasn't ready. I thought, I'll start ranking maybe next season. But these calls are coming in. I flub the first 2 or 3. And then I say to my wife, I think on this next one, I'm just going to say we're booked for the season, but I'd love to get your information and offer you a discount for the following season. I'll keep in touch with you. If anything happens, we open up availability, we'll reach out. And people were so appreciative. I got 24 or 26 of those calls from November whatever to December 15th. And I looked at what that would have been on the revenue, and on the low side. And I was like, okay, there might be something here. Start talking to my wife about it, and I was like, okay, I think I'm going to do this. I think I'm going to do this next year. We'll keep things running, keep things going, and improve it. So the following season, I'm good to go. And by the way, I can talk for forever. So whenever you need to cut me off, just go right ahead. Yeah. But I started to research what the average ticket might be for templates, and what to expect for install. Really going deep down the rabbit hole. And I found that although the money, as we know, can be quite good, for me, trying to balance this with a 9-to-5, installing on the weekends and the evenings, I was looking for something, frankly, a bit more high ticket. And I happen to be looking at one person's website. I think we've talked about him before, down in North Carolina, the guy who runs a huge permanent lighting business. He used to do templates, and he had a little carrot on his homepage for permanent lighting. So what's that? Look at it. A week later, I've gone down the rabbit hole. I'm understanding what revenue can look like, et cetera. And I go, oh, I'm gonna do this. This is December, January, and from there on out, man, it was revamping the website. Finding a supplier, and end of March, I had gone out to do a training with my supplier and was ready to go. I have never worked we'll call it like any sort of installation or tech job before. If you ask my wife, I'm not that handy, but I knew I could do this. After seeing how it was done, I knew I could do it. I know I can get calls in. I know I can get in front of people and close. Now I have to actually install. So from March to May, we did just a couple installations that were friends and family to get the process down. And now we're June 27, and started installing the end of May, early June, and we've got 24K cash collected with 8K on the books for July so far.
So 32,000 combined in contracted sales in the last 30 days, roughly.
Yeah. There were a few signed in May that got started June, but we'll call it 2 months.
Okay. Yeah. So, I mean, we're essentially and if you look at basic margins, right? Revenue's the vanity, profit's the sanity. So now, even if you didn't have aspirations to build this thing even bigger or whatever else, you just decided to go down this path with your wife, and now you have a 9-to-5 income, and now you've got probably roughly about 10K profit heading into your bank account, depending on wherever we go from here. And this is I think fantastic, because I talked to you a few months ago, while you were doing this, and through Home Service Accelerator and everything else. And I think it's really interesting because there's so many guys like me who are I'm not married, I don't have kids. I was me back against the wall. I would have eaten ramen noodles if I had to. I had a different life circumstances at that point.
Yep.
And starting it was just easy for me. And so I talk to my friends who have wives and kids, and my friends who are married and everything else. And it's that my blueprint doesn't work for you. That's just not realistic. I went almost bankrupt. I couldn't imagine having a wife, having to answer to a wife for that, during those moments. And so I think that's really impactful for people. And so walk me through customer acquisition for you now that you're starting to get the wheels turning a little bit. Let's get tactical. Sure. So walk me through customer acquisition.
Sure. So I am not running the HSA playbook to a T right now.
It's hard to with a 9-to-5. I get it.
To an extent. So currently it's all been through referral, except for one, and I have one outlier. I have a 15K install. That is, you can imagine, that's one job. It's definitely skewed the numbers there, but that's the beauty of this, right? That came as a lead from my local newsletter. And this is opening up a whole other can of worms that I'm just going to pin for now. We're going to go back to it. The other two have been through friends and family referring business. Once lights are up and people can see them, I know you know it, these things sell themselves. And that's beautiful. I run the referral program that you taught us. So every customer gets, at the end of an install, a little this is how a referral program works placard, and 3 gift cards. These gift cards are for them to give to someone else who wants the service done. They get X amount off the new referee, and then the customer, I'm given a $150 Amazon gift card.
Yep.
So that's what we've been working on so far. I'm working on a person who, as I was out installing the other day in 98 degree heat wave and 80% humidity, scanned the A-frame and submitted a quote through the site.
Sounds like you're doing a lot of the HSA cycle.
I guess what I haven't done yet, and so I've been really blessed, right? Did one house and the neighbor next door, and that's going to be a fun little video that I've got planned. But have yet to do any social media. I'm just kind of banking a handful of videos right now. Going to start pushing in July. Then haven't done any door knocking. I have the door hangers. Going to do that once this next one is done, and say, hey, look, we didn't just do one home. We did that home and that home. And go check them out. They're running the lights. You can see them at night. Go take a walk. You know, it's beautiful out. It's the summer, yada, yada. So that's the plan. Going to get meta ads running. I'm hoping in July. I want to do this like Christmas in July type deal. I'm going to walk out as Santa, say it's you know, too effing hot for this, throw off the thing, have the lights come on, all that fun stuff. But I saw something the other day, and I think, shit, you probably posted it or someone else, you know, that I follow a lot. But, you know, I have no problem on, we'll call it like the meta ads or paid acquisition. I have no problem having my margins be lower, right? We'll call it X, because I know that I'm going to, with the quality of work I'm going to do and the way that I can generate referrals, I know that my margins on those other acquisition lines are going to be so much higher. And I'll play that game all day long. Honestly, my biggest bottleneck as far as it goes is going to be installing with the 9 to 5.
It's time. It's time in the day for sure.
Yeah. That's it.
Yeah. Especially in Christmas season, you'll be booked out. But that's where I'm going to tell you, like, raise those prices. You better get a lot of no's. But that's incredible, because it just goes to show in this trade and like really any other trade, it's like we could talk about marketing all day long. Obviously, I'm the marketing guy. I'm the sales guy. That's like what my entire thing is. And like, obviously, it's fantastic. It works. You've proven that it works. It works.
Yep.
There's no better form of marketing than super serving a client, especially in a trade like this, where it's also a giant billboard for what you do. It's not like a window cleaner where they're walking by the house and like, oh, that neighbor's windows look really clean. Like, no one says that, but it's like, these are on. It's a year-round advertisement for you. Yes. And so it's really interesting is like so many guys get on the hamster wheel of like what paid ad acquisition works. What's the new key, you know, thing I'm not doing, which let me just spoil it for everybody. It's the Google products, it's the Meta products, and it's signage and it's referrals. That's it. Yeah. Everything else is a distraction. And so if we know that, it's very simple. It's like you put the A-frames out when you go out, you do all the signage stuff, you do the gift card campaigns, whatever else. And then you're not pigeonholed to being like, oh, I hope Facebook was a 10X this week, but it was only a 5. Oh, it was a 3X this week. And it's like, but it doesn't matter, because you know that even if you buy a Facebook job for, you know, a 5X return on ad spend or a 4X or whatever, now you're just giving yourself and your business more at bats to let the rest of the process sell. And it's like, and so it's like for us, the one thing, and I've talked about, I don't know if you were on this group call or not in HSA, but I talked about this a few weeks back where I said like our first year in Christmas, 95% of our business came from paid acquisition. And then the second, so paid ads, right? Because no one knew our names. So it was like 95%. And the second year was in the 80s, third year was in the 80s, second year was in the 80s, third year was in the 70s, fourth year was in the 60s. And then this last year is 45%, which means that 55% of our jobs came for free from referrals, word of mouth, everything else. And I remember vividly, because the cool thing for me with Home Service Accelerator and my social media and everything else is I documented starting my businesses from nothing. Like you can go on YouTube where I'm talking, like there's a YouTube video in 2021 where I'm about 60 pounds heavier, excited about a $1,900 junk removal week. And I remember at that time, even in the Christmas season in 2020 and 2021, I remember being like, this is an interesting trade. No one refers people. Like I wasn't losing a ton of customers, but I was like, man, no one ever refers me to their neighbors. Like it must just be a trade thing. It must be just because Christmas lights are so expensive. And then as we got better, like as the systems and ops and everything got better, the product we were actually installing got better. The communication with us and the customers got better. The wow factor moments got more prevalent. Then we got referrals, and so it was proving to me that like, it doesn't matter what your trade is. If you look at the end of the month and people aren't telling their friends about you or throwing you in text messages with their neighbors and friends, you suck. Let me be the one that tells you, like, let me be the bearer of bad news. If nobody ever refers you to their friends and neighbors ever, you are not doing a good job. You might not be doing a bad enough job to where they get mad at you, like which that is probably the lion's share of home services, where it's like you're doing a serviceable job, but you're not wowing them. You're not pulling up to the driveway. You're not pulling up to the house and seeing the empty garbage bins that were the garbage man just got it this morning and dragging them up to the house for the customer. You're not finding like those random stupid moments. Like, you're not. Because if you were, people would be telling them about you. And I think you're a perfect example, because even when you and I talked offline, you're talking about how like, yeah, I got the one neighbor and then the other neighbor came out and the neighbor's like singing your praises, whatever else, that's already paid you. And it's like, it doesn't matter if you're Grant Cardone, Alex Hormozy, Jordan Belfort in his prime combined. I don't care how good of a salesperson you are. Like, that neighbor will be a better sales rep than you. Because absolutely. There's no skin in the game at all. And I think that's so fascinating to see play out with you, even at like the very infancy of your business.
Right.
Which is showing that A, you're just like a decent human being, but B, you're doing the stuff you need to do to get referrals.
So one thing worth noting is like, as I've reached, I'm 31. So from 22 or 23 to 27 and a half, 28, I just ate shit. Like, I got some referrals, but this is me being a real estate agent. I ate shit and I failed a lot. I always knew that I had the aptitude, right? But aptitude doesn't mean shit, right? If you aren't getting the results and you have the aptitude, it means that you are leaving something on the table. And I was leaving something on the table. And it wasn't until I really had like these come to Jesus moments with my wife, with myself, where I had to ask myself these hard questions, that I realized, the common denominator in all these situations not working was me. And in those moments, you have two choices, right? You can stick your head back in the sand, or you can review like the reality of what's occurred. And the reality of what was occurring was that I just simply wasn't doing a good enough job. So I promised myself that this next thing that I did, I wasn't going to leave anything in the tank. And I think that is part of it, right? Like you mentioned, you've got to be a decent person. I mean, sure, scumbags get away with it X amount of times out of 10, but I think the truth will always come out. And I'd rather lay my head down in the bed every night feeling good about it. So there's that aspect, right?
Yeah.
But it's knowing the things to say. It's, going above and beyond, like you mentioned. Are you bringing the garbage cans in? Are you noting to them when you're up there on the ladder that, hey, I saw some wasps coming in the corner there on your box end where the peak goes. Do you want me? I've already got the caulk gun out. Do you want me to just fill it for you real quick? I want to make sure that these wasps are done. Like, little things like that people probably aren't going to remember, but subconsciously or unconsciously, you're showing up for them in a way that's not just a contractor. And
it's the law of reciprocity. Is like, they will be indebted to you subconsciously if they feel like you served them in any capacity.
Absolutely. And
do you mind though if we go back, because I think that you hit on something that I think is like, most of our audience is young men, and you hit on something that I think will really impact a lot of people. And you said you had this moment where you realized it was you, right? And like, I think that every man that does this path that you and I are both on needs to have that moment where it's like, you realize, and people talking, it sounds cheesy, but like, you realize that nobody is coming to save you. Like, the government is not coming to save you. A new program is not coming to save you. Like, Home Service Accelerator is not going to save you. Like, nothing is going to save you. And you had that conversation with your wife, right? Like, where you're like, it's me. Like, because you had the realization
full
that
Taylor Swift moment.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
I'm the
yeah, yeah,
problem, it's
yeah.
me.
I'm the
Yes.
problem. It's me. Yeah. You had the moment where you were like, okay, hold on. And I think everybody has this epiphany where it's like the hard worker doesn't always win. It's not just the hard work. It's the hard worker, but constantly trying to find a way to make the hard work more effective. That
Yeah,
was a
yeah.
really interesting thing that you hit on that I think that like most people listening, like a lot of guys get jaded because they're like, I'm working so hard, it's just not working. It's like, dude, hard work does not like you're not rewarded for hard work in this game.
No, yeah. Look, I'll go like a step further. So I actually had to get told this multiple times, and I had to learn it multiple times. I think that the the moments will actually keep popping up. It's just some of us are more stubborn, right? And we take a few knocks on the head before we actually get the answer that we probably aren't looking for, but we actually need. And that's what it took for me. The first time my wife said, "Hey, like I need a change," was 4 years prior, three maybe, prior to my moment of realizing it was a change. So in that delta of 3, 4 years, I was just thinking that, the other shoe is going to drop, or whatever the saying is, right? That something was going to miraculously occur, this quantum leap. But the reality of it was that, that 6.5, 7 years mark in real estate came around, and really what it was, man, was, and this is going to sound cheesy, I was proposing to my wife, right? I have the ring. I'm getting ready for all of that to occur, and I'm like, okay, this is a lifelong commitment that I'm making to this person. Um, I can't be the person that I currently am. She doesn't deserve that, and I won't want to live that life either, because we want to have kids and all that fun stuff. The next time I'm on this podcast, hopefully I have a child and the business is blowing up, yada yada yada. But that's
Hell
where we're at
yeah.
in life, right? That's
Yeah.
where we're at in life. And if forget about like the business side of the stuff, man, Mammoth Lights and the local newsletter, all the stuff I'm trying to do. The number one thing in this life that I know I'm made for is to be a father. And I'm getting chills talking about it right now, but I'll tell you, like, it was that moment where I realized, oh, we're going to try to have kids within the next year or so. And it's not like a switch flipped, but just I I had to mature as that thought got you know cemented in my mind, and I had to take a hard look. You can blame external factors all you want, and sometimes, truthfully, external factors do make a huge impact. But not to get too Instagram influencer, but like that Jocko extreme ownership, right? 100% responsibility, taking it. That's
Yeah.
what that's what I had to do in order to move forward past the, we'll call it, like, blind spot I was operating in. And
Yeah.
so I think that you're right. A lot of men are going to say, "Hey, I'm just going to grind, work hard, etc." But you can do all of that, and sometimes it still won't work. You've got to, if you're not getting the results you want, you've got to take a step back and try to look objectively at what's happening. And if you are that lowest common denominator, you two choices, right? Again, stick your head in the sand or reevaluate. And I'm saying all of this like I've got it figured out. We both know, like, both of us are still every day figuring it out. That's a process that never ends.
It'll
But
always be. Yeah. It'll never end.
always will be, always will be. So I don't claim to have any of the answers, but I have more clarity than I did 6 months ago and 3 months ago, and that's kind of where I'm at now, is doing that.
Yeah, it's really interesting because it's like one side where like it's not just hard work, but at the end of the day, it is the hard work
Right.
combined with
Yeah.
a constant reevaluation. Like it's like,
Right.
and you talked. It's funny because you're really humble about it too, and it's probably why you and I get along. Because like I talk about like people see the version now, right? A big group of 320 home service business owners and seven-figure home service business,
Yeah.
seven-figure online business, and it sounds great. And
It
the
does.
reality, the reality of it is, I was talking to one of my sales guys yesterday, and I said, like, I have seen more success in the last 7 months of my life than the last 10 years combined. And so it's like you do the same things, over and over and over again, but then you optimize and you get better, but you just keep going. And then one day you're like, okay, this clicks. Like for you, it's like, it clicked. Like you just got $10,000 of secondary income from a hustle you started from out of thin air. And it's like, you don't know, like in the moment of the hard work, you don't know when it's going to work or how it's going to work. You just like have this like, oh shit. Like when you get the $15,000 job approved, that's that moment for you. That's like that first one where you're like, holy, what? Like, 15 grand. And it's funny because you talk about like having your back against the wall, whatever. You have a conversation with your wife. I've talked about it at length. Mine was like when my brother died in 2022 and my business went to basically zero. And like I basically should have filed bankruptcy. Thank God I had some credit cards with some higher limits, and I was paying rent on a credit card for end of 2021. Yeah, end of 2021. And like that was that moment as a man where it's like, oh, no one's coming to save me. Like the hard work, whatever. Like the I worked hard. It's great. And then you look at it at like the macro level. It's like, do you think Jeff Bezos is currently working the same amount of hours you and I are? No, he's just a lot more effective. And like the hard work was there in the beginning.
Yeah.
But then as he grew in his career and like, whatever, say what you want about billionaires, the results, he has the results, right?
Yeah.
Like it changes. So we're like, now it's like you have acquired these skills. You've acquired these SEO skills. You've acquired the skill to grow a newsletter. You acquired the skill in real estate that real estate didn't even work for you, in your own words, but you acquired skills from that you're now probably using more in this than you even realized. And so it's like so many times things like, dude, for me, I was a salesperson. I was a failed sales manager. I tried to be a professional poker player. I tried to start a Twitch stream to play video games. Like I tried to I thought junk removal was going to be it for a while. Like, dude, I tried to document on social media 4 years ago and then stopped for 3 years. Like I've failed a lot of those different things, but like, and now you're at this moment where it's like you're saying this entire first 30 minutes, like I failed here, I failed here, I failed here. Now it's like starting to figure it out. But then the best thing you said was like, but I still don't have it figured out. I still don't have it figured out. Your problems just change.
Yes. And there's this other, I guess, saying that I'm going to rip off, and I'll say this about like pretty much everything I do. I hope one day I have an original thought, but I'm pretty sure everything I say I just repackage from somebody else.
Nobody has an original thought anymore.
Exactly. One thing that I've started to like key in on is the only thing that's changed about me. It's not been my aptitude. It's not been my ability to, do X or Y. I've started to reduce the time gap between when something occurs and when I take the lesson from the thing occurring. Right. And that's, I would almost guarantee that 7-month stretch, right, that you're talking about right now is applying that same principle. And that's been pretty much my only focus the past 2 years and some change while I've been in this 9-to-5 job. Okay, great. I have an income that is quote unquote dependable. We all know the truth of that. But let me get my mind right and let me stop trying to, square peg round hole something. And that the entire 2.5 years, I was learning some local SEO stuff, refining some web development stuff, through, I don't know anything technical, just like Webflow, Framer, etc.
Yeah.
The main thing though was getting my head right to do that, to reduce the time it spends from when I learn something to when like I apply it, or when something is presented to me, when I actually put it into action. I think that meta skill is going to be the thing that is the most impactful for me in my marriage as a father, and then as a business owner. And if I can learn to apply that better and better and continue to reduce that time gap. For instance, okay, I'm going to sound like a dork. I brought props. Can I show you something real quick?
Please.
Am I the first guest to bring a prop?
Well, I think you're like guest 6. So the sample size is small.
All right. So this, you'll recognize this. Right? You gave this to me.
Yeah.
Okay. So for those listening and watching, this is a Canva design that Steve sent me the first time we chatted after I joined HSA. Every customer gets this folder, front and back, right? Different colors, because I'm showing them all the fun stuff. A few things to help them both emotionally and logically, right? Left side, right side, emotional logic. But this I didn't have before you sent it to me. And instead of, which is what I used to do, thinking about it, instead of trying to perfect it, instead of yada yada, all I did was slap my colors on there and get it printed. And it was the reducing that time from learning something to applying it, which is what actually got me that large job. I wouldn't say it got me it, but
It's a piece. It's a factor. It's a factor.
It's a factor. It's a factor.
Yeah. Will you hold up? I want to make sure we define the terms because I'm not a discount guy normally. Will you hold up the discount program thing?
And I'm not either, but I think this is genius what you did. Here, tell me when it's clear. Is this good?
Yeah, it's clear there. So to put color to this is specifically for permanent lighting businesses that want to sell jobs in the off season. What we did was we realized that there was no urgency to buy in May. They'll get you out like in March or April or May. They'll get you out, they'll get a quote, and then there was no urgency to actually make them make the deposit because Christmas was like 8 months away. And most of the time, these people are still buying them for Christmas. And so what this is for Noah is it's a discount stacking program that the discounts decrease the closer to Christmas. And so then if the people are like, yeah, we're going to do it, but honey, we're waiting. Honey, let's just wait a little bit. It's like, no, actually, if we wait, we actually have to pay a few $100s more. So that's all that is. I just wanted to put color to that.
Yeah. Dude,
it's a decision driver. It's just a decision.
Exactly. And that's like another factor that keyed into how this is set up is I've got two sides, right? You got pretty colors, then you have numbers, right? This is on this side, emotion, and this side, logic. Maybe this is me over engineering, but it's multiple pages, right? It's multiple pages of a few, it's 6 pages total, 3 on each side. Mm-hmm. But none of this is revolutionary. I was just thinking back to like the best contractors that I experienced when I was, this home that I own, or that I remember from when they were coming to my parents' house. They always left something. They always came looking professional in some regard. They always, were they had polish to them. And we're selling a luxury item. I know that you can get away with a lot of things. I'm learning in the home service world, but I want to make people feel like from the second they send a message in and their form I'm calling them on or texting them on to the not even the day we drive away, but checking in a couple weeks after saying, hey, did you set any schedules up? Do you need us to come out to help run through the app again? Like all these little touch points that are going to make people feel like they didn't just get a service done. They hired a quality company to help improve their lives. Mm-hmm. I think it's, all of these pieces play together, man, but the reality of it is this all comes from learning lessons. And it goes back to what I'm saying about just reducing that time it takes from when you learn something to when it's applied. That's everything.
Yeah. Yeah. It's funny. And it's even like take a step further. When I look at like when I started getting successful, it was the speed to decision. It's not just like speed to learning. It's like when we go like, for example, you just showed that folder and I'm like, we do a little trifold. Like I like the folder more. And so now the second we get off this call, I'm going to Natalie. I'm like, Natalie, connect with Noah. We're going to do these folders. Like that's like, and it's not like I'm going to do it next month. I'm doing it today and crossing it off the list. And that's the next thing. And so when you think about like, if one guy takes 5 days to a month to make a decision like that and implement it, and my business takes 10 minutes to actually get it done and cross it off the list, extrapolate that over a year, I'm just going to run circles on you because I've made 10 times the amount of decisions you've made for the business. Right. And absolutely. So I think that's a really good frame. And like, I can promise everybody watching, I have been around hundreds. I've taken calls with thousands of home service businesses. Noah and Mammoth Lights by this time next year will be ripping like high 5 figures, low 6 figures a month in that business. Like no questions asked. Cause like, this is just the framework. Now, when you decide you want to be full-time in it, that's your decision. But
we're getting there. That's going to be episode 2 when I come back.
I do want you to hit on. Yeah, I want to talk about the newsletter.
Yeah.
Can you?
Okay, cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tell us about your newsletter.
Well, I can go forever. So tell me how much time you have left, and I'll make sure we get it in during that period of time.
We have 15 minutes and 52 seconds. 50
seconds now. Okay, cool. So newsletters. Everybody gets them, email newsletters, whether you're getting them sent from Kit, Beehive, SendGrid, whatever it is. A newsletter is just something you sign up for, and you get it an email every week, every 2 weeks, etc., every day.
So you're doing a local email newsletter.
Yes, there is a growing trend across, we'll call it, X or the newsletter space in general for these localized city, county, etc., town, even sometimes newsletters. I run one called Chesco Buzz. Very simple, chescobuzz.com if you want to check it out. Like I said, props, bam. Um,
Yep.
all I do is once a week, I send a newsletter to people in my area, targeted through Meta primarily. So I'm going zip code by zip code, pulling all the ones from my county. For Chester County, they're getting the events that are going on throughout the week. I don't get all of them. I curate about 25 to 30 every single week, and
Okay.
they get a list. There's a featured event on top of that list. Think of it like a spotlight event. There is then above that kind of like yeah, this is it, man. This website took me 20 minutes to set up through Beehive. So click into
Okay.
any one of those and you'll be able to see what it looks like more or less. In email, it shows up differently. It's a little more
Yep.
polished, but
Yep.
I went with this coffee theme, right? I have the blend, so it's a mix of local stories. I do adoptable pets, which is great. People love them. Sometimes there's like a trivia piece in there. What's brewing? This week I didn't even do a featured event because I was slam doing installs and I just
Mm-hmm.
didn't have time to do all that. But man, this is it. Clickable links inside the email people can go to, uh, and then a little
Dude.
sign off. That's it. Simple.
Okay. So let's talk about the utility of this for everybody listening.
Yeah.
He's not. No, here's what's interesting. What Noah's doing is he's buying an audience locally without ever talking about lighting, right?
Correct.
Because
Correct.
then when it comes time, guess who the
Yes.
sponsors are the free sponsorship's going to be from?
I
Shocking.
should have told you who the like which email was the one where I actually put Mammoth in, but I wouldn't be able to do it, and there's no point in us rolling through these right now to find
No,
it.
it's all good. Yep.
But so the local newsletter I've been running since literally the same week that I started the Mammoth Lights Google business page. October 22nd was my first, or 23rd was my first email sent. I've sent
Mm-hmm.
one every single Tuesday at 6 a.m. since that point. So we've got what 7-ish months in, maybe 8-ish months in both of those things running. I now have an audience of 12,268 or 12,300 probably by the end of the week people. I grow between 1,000 to 1,500 subscribers every single month. And I'm spending $10 a day on ads on Meta. That's it. That's my only spend aside from Beehive. Uh,
Mm-hmm. Which is the platform you hosted on.
the platform, the newsletter sending platform,
Mm-hmm.
the website, etc. So the local newsletter space is interesting because you already hit on it. I own a local audience now. I can't get deplatformed on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Meta, etc. I can't. That can't be. The emails can't be taken away from me. If Beehive shuts down tomorrow, I still have a newsletter email list that I can take to another platform. The inbox is still one of the best places to advertise yourself or to land, in people's lives. People still read their
Mm-hmm.
emails. It is not dead. And truthfully, the way social media is rolling, people are pulling back from trusting what they see every week on social media. It's still going to convert, of course, but this is some of my own headspace on where I think things are going. It's been an interesting ride because when I first started it, since I started the two at the same time, I didn't have this grand vision for how they're going to interconnect. But what I
Mm-hmm.
saw was that the people operating local newsletters who were doing really well had to do one of two things. They either had to monetize creatively, which if you guys type in at Mikey Pesto, I think on Twitter, Mike runs the newsletter club, which I'm a part of, and he's running catskillcrew.com. This guy is a wizard with creative monetization, events, custom merch. He made his own custom Catskills Monopoly board and has sold over 6 figures of product to people in his area. Um, so you can be
So
creative,
funny.
right? It's amazing, dude. There's so many ways to make money in the world. But with this specifically, that's one, right? The creative side. Then there's we'll call it more traditional form of monetization. And one guy who's really well known for it is Ryan Sneddon, Sneddon, I believe, on Twitter. He ran or runs a newsletter in Annapolis, Maryland, and has a very polished product. And he fills ad slots, and he does featured events and all of that kind of stuff. Those are the two, we'll call it, ways to, in my eyes, the two camps in how to monetize. I knew that I didn't want to start a sales job trying to fill ad slots for my newsletter. So if you go through my newsletters, out of every 4 sends per month, I might have one paid sponsor. And or might have a mix of people paying for featured events. For instance, I just closed one for a local nonprofit who I gave a large discount to because you can do nice things like that.
Yep.
And they're paying for a spotlight ad, so we tell a little bit about them and what they're doing this summer with different initiatives in the county. And then they're paying for just their logo at the top of the newsletter is another $75 on top of that, right? I'm going to make $500 from that one single placement, which pays for my platform costs and my ad spend for the month. Okay. My goal is to have like a zero customer acquisition cost on the newsletter, so I can just grow infinitely over time. The reason that I'm not trying to create a billboard out of my newsletter is because, yes, at a certain point, guess who's going to sponsor it? Or guess who will be one of the primary sponsors? It's going to be Mammoth Lights. It's going to be Mammoth Turf. It's going to be, as things grow, right? I'm going to begin to plug myself. So in July, I'm going to be running a very small section. It's just a quick CTA with one photo, and it's going to be the Christmas in July special. And it's going to invite people to click on the link, a custom landing page, and they're going to get a discount if they roll from the newsletter and book a quote with Mammoth Lights.
Yeah. And it's like
that's the model.
Yeah, and it's so funny because it's like I think about things that I would use, and like even as a 30-year-old in Arizona, if I'm going out on a date with a girl and I want to not go to get drinks for the 18th time, I would sub to a newsletter for this exact thing. Like I would sub to it. So I always like the things that I'm like, oh, I would do this just so I can find out some random stuff to do. Like I would use it. And that's like the best businesses in the world. It's like I would use it. I would be a customer if it was in Arizona.
If people actually like what you're selling, yes, it's a great thing, right? And that's been the newsletter. Honestly, has been more of the. It's been fulfilling because I have friends who have young kids who are like, oh, I read the newsletter and I went out to the free photo session around Valentine's Day for our daughter and her first birthday. Or I've got friends who are like, oh, I went to the yoga with alpacas event that you posted and it was amazing. Like we had an awesome time. And then I've got people who are 65, 70 years old telling me their life stories in replies to the email saying, thank you so much for advertising about this one piece because this area of the county never gets any shine, right? And so what kind of community am I building? Am I building purely something transactional? Absolutely not. No. And yeah, man, I see a whole, I'm starting to call it my local business flywheel, right? So we've got a couple minutes left. Again, I don't have any original ideas. I just have repackaged stuff. Do you know who Naval Ravikant is? Okay, he's this, I want to say VC or angel investor. I always get the two wrong. I think angel investor. Really well-known guy in that world. He's well liked for his ways of thinking. And he had a set of viral tweets that got created into a book called the Almanac of Naval Ravikant. But he talks about in business and in the world, there's 3 forms of leverage nowadays. You've got labor, which is Mammoth Lights, right? You can have yourself or ideally other people, right? That's the leverage portion, working for you to create something that generates revenue and profit. You have code, which works, whether you're asleep or not, and does not rely on labor to generate revenue or profit. And then you have media. And when I heard that a couple of years ago, I was like, okay, I know that I'm not going to learn coding. It's just not what I'm built for. But when I realized I was writing a local newsletter, which is media, and I was building this business, this service business, which yes, I will eventually, get employees and have people installing, so I'm off the ladder. That's leverage on labor, and that's leverage on media. 3 out of 3 would be awesome, but 2 out of 3 ain't that. And I see a world where this grows. So I'm going to start a second newsletter for the area that's right next to my county in we'll call it like Q4-ish. And now I already know how to grow it, right? I've got the playbook. And so that will grow much faster and be much more polished than the other one. And this is another area that I want to serve with the lighting business. That lends itself to spinning up other Google business profiles in that area. And it all starts to compound, right? So I don't have any of the answers, but the clarity is getting a little better, and the ability to go from, idea to action is improving. So I'm excited, man. I could be completely whiffing this, and there will be no second episode, but I think that the writing is there on the wall.
I can promise you with confidence that is not a whiff. That audience is amazing, dude. This was incredibly helpful. This is great.
Well, I appreciate it, man. I'm grateful to have the opportunity to chat. Getting to learn from you and your team has been a lot of fun. And the guys in HSA, dude. I mean, we've got people ripping off incredible, sorry, we don't use that term, ripping incredible numbers, right? Like just smashing it. And I'm learning little bits through the community every day. So thank you. This has been a fun ride, and I'm excited to see where it goes. I'll say to you, personally, I've already said you guys should be starting a newsletter for the Valley. Like it's a no-brainer.
I know.
So I'm ready to chat with you about it. But also, anybody who's listening, if I don't have anything to give on the service business side, I'm still a novice in that. But on the newsletter side, it's pretty new in how it's getting executed. Happy to either chat with anybody or connect you to people who are better than me that you can talk to. I think anybody who is going to be in an area for a period of time and owns a service business should be creating their own owned audience in the locality that they're in. Doesn't matter if there's competition. There's so many people out there. Go and do it.
Dude, where can they find you?
Oh, I don't even know, man.
Twitter? At, what is it, Noah Scott 1? What is it again? At Noah Scott 1?
I don't know. Plug it in wherever things get plugged.
It's _ Noah Scott.
Brutal.
I love it.
Yeah, that's the best way. That's where to find me.
All right, so here for everybody watching, let's put a visual. He's right here. If you're on X, excuse me, not Twitter, X. Here he is. So, all right. At It's Noah Scott.
Yeah, hit me.
Slide into those DMs.
Let's chat. It's been a fun ride, man. I can't wait for the next few months, next year, etc.
No, you're gonna go. It's crazy. Like 30 something K in a month while having a 9 to 5 is insane. So the sky's the limit, dude. The sky is the limit. I'm excited.
I'm gonna let you be more excited than I am. I'm excited. I'm nervous and all those good things, but I can't wait to see where it goes, man. And I'm just grateful to be along for the ride to see what you're doing too.
Appreciate it, dude. All right, we'll cut it.
Cheers, brother. All righty.